Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, because, talking about the weather is super exciting for a live show. So exciting, you guys.
Absolutely. It's always something to talk about, though. It's
It
it's
is.
always like, oh, what the weather we're having, or my favorite. So you ready for Christmas? Those are like the two conversation starters this time of year.
Yeah, well, for the most part, we don't have to buy that many presents because my immediate family have decided we're all adults. We don't have any kids to shop for. Let's just do away with the prezzies. And it has
That's
made
nice.
the season so much less stressful. I can't even tell you.
Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Well, speaking of less stressful, I hope we can take away people's stress for the evening and sit back, relax, and talk about Star Trek. So, welcome to the Unready Room. I'm Dan Gunther. With me, as always, is Brandi Jackola. How are you doing today, Brandi?
I'm doing great right now. And that's what matters. I had a really bad headache earlier that I was afraid was
Uh,
going to make me rather dour, but I'm good now.
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm doing well, ready to talk about Choose to Live. And we've already questions. Where's the drunk cellist come from? We'll get to that for sure. Or the comments will probably answer you in about 20 seconds or so. But
Yep.
either way.
Hmm. Yep.
So choose to live. Lots going on in this episode. Really excited. First of all, thanks for everyone joining us here live in the comments. We always love having you. I'm going to try and focus more on the comments than I usually do. I notice sometimes we get into a big discussion and there's all these things happening in the comments, and I want to try and make this show about all of you as much as it is the two of us. So I'm going to
Yeah.
try and keep an eye on that a little bit more. And of course,
Wait,
also
wait, wait,
welcome to
wait,
everybody watching later. Brandi, yes,
wait, wait,
sorry.
wait. I have to say hi, Sam. Thanks for
Oh,
coming at two
yay!
in the morning.
Oh, thank you so much for joining. I know it's very late or very early, depending on your perspective where you are. So thank you so much for joining. That's really awesome. Really happy
Yes.
to have you here. Awesome.
Yes, very much so. I just had to shout you out. Had to shout you
Absolutely.
out some, especially since I peer pressured you to coming. So.
I saw all of that play out. I just kind of sat back and watched and was like, I'm gonna let Brandi do her thing here.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Oh man, yeah. I apologize to everyone who's in an inconvenient time zone for this. My timing for being able to do this, and it's all me. Brandi is totally open anytime, all this stuff, but me, I'm like my job keeps moving different times on Saturday, and it's all over the place. It might be going forward at this time, but I said that about the previous time as well, and I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, and thanks for making it sound like I have no life, Dan. Appreciate that.
I just meant no, you have like the 9 to 5, well maybe not 9 to 5, but the Monday to Friday job that I
I do.
miss having. So I would
Yeah.
love to go back to that. So no, I'm very jealous.
Well, I spent 20 years working in retail, so I know the pain, and
Hmm.
having a regular work schedule sometimes seems like such a slog, but then I remember, oh yeah, I get to be home in the evenings and on weekends, so I should just shut my mouth and be grateful. And I am. I'm very grateful.
Uh, I miss it. I do miss it. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
feel like I'm back in like I don't know high school or college jobs at the moment, which is it's a weird position to be in, but it's interesting.
I'm so sorry.
Um, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It could be worse. It could always be worse. So,
That doesn't
yeah.
make it less hard at the time, though, Dan.
No, I know. I know. I'm just trying to, focus on the positive for myself. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it has been worse in the past. So, I'm grateful for what I have right now, for sure. But choose to live. Um, this is an episode, and I feel like Brandi, you're gonna have a lot to say about this episode. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why, but when I was watching this episode, I thought of you a lot during it. So, because there's a lot of Brandi things in this episode, if that makes sense. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
um,
You're not wrong.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 3 main stories going on in this episode. So, Brandi, why don't I turn it over to you to choose which one we're going to talk about first, because I'm curious to
Gosh,
see what you'll go with.
gosh damn it. Okay. Well, first of all, this one did not make me cry at all. Like, I was just dry as a bone through the entire thing. Of course, I'm joking. What do you think? Of course. There was
Yeah,
tissue involved.
my BS meter was going.
Yep. 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 So gosh, because every single one of these storylines was very emotional for me, regardless of which one I choose. So
Mhm.
let's go ahead and start with, just for kicks and giggles, let's start with Murder Nuns.
I saw that appellation in the comments, and yeah, I was
Not the
wondering.
first time that I have seen that either, and I totally stole it. I did not come up with that. But
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, because that's our cold open, isn't it? And oh my gosh, that ship
Mhm.
was so pretty. So very,
Very
very pretty.
pretty, but and this is
But
just a minor thing. There's the US, and I'm just going to open the Memory Alpha page to like confirm my, because internet is slow. But the registry number was like a 4-digit number with no dash or anything. It's like very low registry numbers. Uh, the page isn't coming up because my internet's horrible, but it was NCC-28 something something. So I was like, that's interesting. Like, I feel like there's a story there, but I don't know. I didn't see a letter. I couldn't see a letter, and Memory Alpha said it was very low as well. But
yes.
not the most important thing, but I was just like, that's kind of funny. But yes, very pretty ship. I really liked
Yeah.
that design.
Well, I feel like it's been like 1,000 years, so maybe they just started over with the numbers.
That's what Bruce said actually when we were doing the podcast. He said, well, Starfleet just ran out of numbers, so they started over. And I'm like, I think we're missing something about how numbers work, but fair enough.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. You're not going to have a ship registry number that is 7 digits. I mean, that's just too many digits. 5 is pushing it at this point. We can barely remember 5. So, going beyond that, they're just like, no, let's just start over. We'll start over with 101. The next ship's going to be 01. I don't care what class it is. I
Maybe
don't
that's
know.
how we got, I mean, I know it wasn't a real Starfleet ship, it was a fake Starfleet ship, but maybe that's how we got the Enterprise NX-01 and then the Dauntless NX-01A. So,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
In any case, Eagle Moss will be making a replica of that soon.
Yes, I'm sure they will, with little plastic clips to do the warp nacelles that are unattached. So yeah,
Yes,
very cool.
love the detached things. Yes.
Yeah, I don't envy Eagle Moss in them trying to figure out a solution to make that look good, though. That's they have their work cut out for them for sure.
Oh, Aaron has the answer for us. Look, it's the USS Credence NCC 3190.
Oh, okay. I think Memory Alpha had it as 28 something. That's what I thought. 2804 is what Memory Alpha says. So interesting.
I
It
wonder
looked
who's
like
right.
28. I don't know. It looked like 28 something on my screen, but I couldn't really see the rest. So yeah, I don't know.
Hard to say. I gotta pull it up on my phone and see if I can see.
It's important. This is important stuff, people.
This is important. I mean, I rewatched certain parts of this episode before. I mean, I've watched it twice, and then I've rewatched parts of it, and so yeah. But I do really feel, going away from the ship registry.
Oh,
I feel like
Aaron.
2804.
Yeah,
Right.
Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, he found. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I feel
Whew, all
like
right.
I understand. I totally understand, with the context from later in the episode. I understand why Giovanni is doing it the way she's doing it. However,
Hmm.
she did not have to kill that man.
No.
She did not. She could have knocked him out. I mean, what do swords have? Oh, they have pommels that are
Hmm.
blunt, which means you can, whack somebody with that.
Yeah.
So I still feel like, yeah, that was for a good cause, but still an unnecessary death, in my
Hmm.
humble opinion.
I absolutely agree with that. I feel like Giovanni made a couple of missteps in this episode, and
Hmm.
her heart's obviously in the right place. And I wonder, and kind of going deeper than the episode goes into it, I sometimes wonder if you're kind of in I don't want to say a culture, but like in an environment where so much weight is placed on the idea of lost causes and all this kind of stuff. If you kind of get inside your head a little bit, and she
Mm.
just kind of got wrapped up in that a little bit. And I mean, I can't really say, but I felt like she was pretty blinded to some maybe obvious avenues, one of which of course was to do a non-lethal thing in that instance, or that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
Indeed. Well, and it's difficult to know for sure, but with the co-op Milat being a Romulan order from the start, it's possible that she is Romulan. Well, they're all Navaran now, but it's possible that she is of Romulan descent and
Hmm.
therefore not in control of her emotions as much. And she
Yeah.
does say that when she was traveling through that sector, she felt love and family and, terror, and because these creatures, this race was reaching out telepathically for help. And
Hmm.
and rightly so, because their biomatter contains latinum. What?
Yeah.
How does your biomatter contain latinum? But I don't know.
They
We
probably look at
carry
us and say, iron, what the
iron. Why
what the
do you have
heck?
iron? That's a
Yeah.
fair point. And so there she found her lost cause. And
Yeah.
I I wonder, there's no real context for this, but I wonder if at that point she had felt that she needed a new path to be on.
Hmm. That makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
so
And yeah, she is definitely Romulan. She's got the fairly pronounced ridges too. So
mhm,
that, you know, um, I would wonder how many Vulcans are in the Coat Millat, given that it was originally a Romulan one. Like how intermingled are things now? Because pretty much all of the Coat Millat we see, except for Gabrielle Burnham, of course, are Romulans. And then pretty much all of the like people in the Science Institute that Paul goes to, they all seem to be Vulcans. At least Tarina says Vulcans do this, we do this. It sounds like that's pretty Vulcan majority anyway. So yeah, I wonder how
mm,
much intermingling there is. We do see, like in last year's episode, Unification 3, there's still a lot of kind of fracture lines in the society. So it'd be interesting
yeah.
in like those institutions, how mixed are they? I don't know.
Mhm. Very interesting. So, yeah, that kind of set me on edge because I really feel like Giovanni could have done that without killing people, or
Hmm.
killing a person. And, yeah, and he had a partner and kids, and now those people have to go on without him when she could have just knocked him out. Are you telling me she is not skilled enough to just knock him out? Hmm.
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 Yeah.
So, but, you know,
Yeah. And like things like personal transporters and stuff, like if her life really was in that much danger that she had to use lethal force because she's coming at him with a sword, she could just disappear out of there and pop up somewhere else and neck pinch him like the other one did to the lieutenant.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. there was a different way to handle that, and she let the heat of the moment uh, rule her, and the person's now dead.
Mhm.
So yeah, but hey, now the fun part is going to find her, and then we have our little
Absolutely.
council of 3 talking there, and it's just kind of like, okay, so we've got Vance, we've got the president, and Michael. So what's happening now?
Mhm.
And that's when we find out what's happened, and we can see that the co-op meal are hanging out in the background there in their little trio and talking. And I'm pretty sure, and like, please, one of those has to be Mama Burnham. Come on.
Oh, of
And of
course,
course
yeah.
it was. So, and I just kind of get this feeling from the start that no matter what had happened, what anyone else had said, that this always would have gone the way that it did because Rillick wanted it to go that way.
Mhm.
And so she knew exactly who she was going to send and why. And she also probably made damn sure that Gabrielle was going to be one of the people as well, which she would have been because of her origin story with Giovanni. So, yeah, I just feel like, wow, she just oiled up that track and just slid them all down it.
Mhm. Yeah, she did an interesting job conducting her orchestra, I guess,
Mm,
is the
yes.
analogy we're going with here. Yeah. Um Anytime Vance is on screen, like, can we, oh man, like in this opening bit, of course, just, giving the mission parameters and stuff and that sort of thing, but also, of course, at the end, that scene talking about the orchestra, I could just listen to that over and over and over again. He's so good.
Hmm.
And that, of course, is where, I should say, the drunk cellist comes from. That's
Yes.
the speech that Vance gives, saying, and I've actually got the exact quote here. I've
Please
got it
do
up.
share.
It's so good. So he asks Burnham, "Do you like music, Captain?" And Burnham says, "Sure." And Vance says, "Think of us as an orchestra. Your first chair violin with the showy, challenging solos. I'm the drum section, setting the pace, providing backbone. She's the conductor. When she signals us, we play. It's not our job to know if the cellist is drunk or the woodwinds and brass are at war. We each have our part, and we must all trust that she knows the symphony." So I loved that. Like, as much as I don't like Rillick, he's absolutely right. Like, that's the way it has to work for things to work, right? So
Yeah.
and he's just so good. And he gets paid by
Oh,
the letter, as he says.
yeah. Anytime I get to see Oded Fair in anything, I'm happy because I have been a fan of his for such a long time, like
Mhm.
half my life. That when he showed up on Discovery, I'm like, yes. So yeah, more Vance, please. Give me all the Vance you can. I will
Yeah,
take it gratefully.
absolutely. His little flourish, like when, because Burnham says that was a lot of analogy, and he says, "Well, they pay me by the letter." I just, I love that. It's so great.
Yep.
I wonder if that was the actor talking. They pay me by the letter, but anyway.
Yes, yes. So yeah.
I've
So
jumped us horribly around. I
That's
apologize,
okay.
by the
No, that's
way.
okay. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Okay. One thing I want to touch on is how Tilly is still challenging herself with new experiences. The whole mac and cheese thing was hilarious.
I feel like that was written for me almost, because, like, I'm not a big fan of cheese generally.
Mm,
Like, I like pizza, I like, but like cheese on sandwiches or burgers or mac and cheese, cheddar cheese, I'm just not a fan. And boy, am I ever made to feel weird about it sometimes. Like, not maliciously so, but just like there's so many different foods that people love so much with cheese. And I'm just like, that would be 10 times better if you didn't put the cheese in. Whatever. That's just my personal preference. So I loved Saru saying, like, I know your dislike of cheese makes you a rarity among human beings, but I didn't think it was actually classified as a disorder. And I was like, thank you.
To be fair, I understand how that feels because I get the same reaction when I tell people I don't like ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And so people go off the rails and are so offended or so upset. And I'm like, what does this have to do with you?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So Saru is the one who recommends her to go on this mission with Michael because of her innate diplomatic skills. And Michael does, yeah, she does know how to put people at ease. And she does, but she
Mm-hmm.
also just Tilly's enthusiasm. Okay, like when she's walking with that other sister of the co-op Mila,
Yes.
and she's just babbling on, and I'm just like, I know, I identify with this so hard that you just get going, and especially when I'm nervous, I will babble, 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 or I'll be dead silent. There's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. And usually, if I get started babbling, I just keep running off at the mouth, kind of like I'm doing right now. And then she's apologizing, and the sister says something to the effect, I don't know the exact quote. I'm sorry. If you think that your enthusiasm has dismayed me, you are mistaken. So, in other
Mm-hmm.
words, she's validating Tilly in that moment. And
Yeah.
it just warms my heart.
And then just that little like smile afterwards. That was so good. And
So
when a member of the Co-op Millat says something to you, they're not just saying it to make you feel better. It's
yeah.
absolute candor. It's the truth, right? And that
Mhm.
was a sweet moment. I really loved that for sure.
Yes.
Um, TJ, thank you. Solidarity, my friend.
I have no judgment against anyone for not liking a certain kind of food. Um,
Absolutely.
a lot of times people who don't like cheese end up being lactose intolerant in some way,
Mm-hmm.
which, that's like just the way that your body is. But that doesn't matter. I mean, let people like what they like
Mm-hmm.
and move on. It has nothing to do with you. It does not uh, just take away from your life because this person doesn't like cheese. Okay.
No,
Good grief. Get a hold of yourself.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this mission they go on to track down this renegade Coat Millat nun, whose name I had at the top of my head right now, and it's just
Jadini.
Javini. I was like, Virginie, that's not it. That's not
Oh, I
it.
did that
Javini.
yesterday. I did that yesterday on What the Future Holds, and both Dave and Chris started laughing their butts off. So, because I said, oh no, it's Bejazel all over again.
Oh no. Oh man, that character. Wait. Yes. Javini. Okay.
Javini.
Javini.
Hmm.
Yeah, they track her to this moon, and in
That's no moon.
you
I'm sorry, I'm
know
getting Star Wars in my Star Trek again.
what's funny is I didn't like snag on that line the first time I watched it, but today I watched it for the second time. I watched it with my wife Nikki, and she's a huge Star Wars fan. And for whatever reason, at that line, "This is no moon," and like we just both looked at each other. We're like,
Yeah, I'm like, it's a space station. Well, it was close. It was
exactly.
a starship of some kind,
Starship.
but
It's
yeah.
close, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I love that because that kind of harkens back to that kind of thing we've seen in Star Trek before, which is like Yonada from the original series, this kind of ship that looks like a planet or an asteroid or a moon that's traversing great distances to find a new home. I was just like, oh, that's such a nice Star Trek trope to have used in this episode. And even the diagram showing their sun going supernova
Oh, that
looked
was so
like,
cool.
yeah, but it looked like the diagram on the thing in the episode for The World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky, where they have the asteroid ship. And I was like, was that on purpose? Like it looked similar. Obviously not the same species, but
Obviously.
still I was like, oh, that's an interest. It just looked very similar. Thought that was kind of cool because I was already thinking about that at that point, and then, oh, hey, you know.
Yes, I love that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Did anyone get an alien vibe when you saw all those pods? I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like,
But I
don't
figured,
look into them.
yeah, don't fall down into there first of all and disturb the stasis field. Definitely don't do that. And
Yeah.
then definitely don't go up to one as it's opening. It's like people just do the stupidest things. They just do really stupid things. Oh, what's that over there 2 miles away? I'll go have a look.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was another Eddie Izzard bit. It's coming from horror movies. Oh, look, something moving in the forest about 2 miles away. I'll go look, and I'll take a
Yeah.
thimble with me.
And we should probably split up to do that. So.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely should split up. Absolutely. Actually, that bit also has something to do with cellists because they go off into the woods and it's na 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 na. Wait, and they turn around, go na 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 na. I'm not going that way. Nah, not going that way. Turns around, goes back the other way. Yeah.
There you go. Absolutely.
Cellists.
Speaking of music in this episode, I found the music really interesting in that there, first of all, there was less of it in this episode than usual. There were lots of moments of not silence, but like I'm thinking of like the scene with Stamets and Book in engineering, and then interestingly with them again on Navarre, there's a lot of periods of just silence, not silence, but no incidental music behind the dialogue. But then what music there was so good in this episode, like when they're reawakening all the pods, that music there. And then, oh, it's hard to say that this is my favorite shot in this episode because this episode has so many great moments, but
oh my word, yes.
Oh, when they look out the window and see them all steaming away to go to the planet, that was such a beautiful visual, and the music behind it was so amazing too. Ah, so good.
And I
feel
was
like
crying.
I've just
I was crying.
got over this episode.
Yes. Yeah, that made me cry.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely made me cry. I do really love this entire episode, and there is just so much going on in it. Dan, are you frozen? I think Dan might be frozen again. Is Dan with us? Is he without us? Well, I see that, TJ, you've been a huge bare naked lady for a long time. So have I. So that's another thing we have in common. Sorry, I was vamping while you were gone. But yeah, what was I saying?
No, that's awesome. A few lyrics. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I think there's a big delay. I apologize.
I think there might be. Tell me when you hear me.
Okay. I was just saying, yeah, I've been noticing DJ talking the Bare Naked Ladies lyrics, and I'm a huge Bare Naked Ladies fan. You know, just wanted to say that.
Same. Love them. Love their Christmas album. Great Christmas album.
Oh, yeah.
Big delay. Super big delay.
Their version of Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen with Sarah McLachlan.
Yes. Absolutely. Dan is frozen. Oh, Canada. Dave, stop making fun of Canada. I think we're really delayed.
Am I still frozen?
Are you still frozen? I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we've got like 2 or 3 seconds of delay, so.
Okay, so it's not great, but
not the worst.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we're getting better now too. It sounds like.
I think so. And you're not fuzzy on my screen anymore, so that's good.
Yay! Excellent. Yay, Canadian internet.
Yes. Well, you know, how many times has my internet failed us? And I'm right here in America.
Fun.
But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so for this aspect of the story, I guess the one other thing that I really want to highlight is Tilly's conversation with Gabrielle Burnham towards the end. And I
Mm-hmm.
did see somebody bring that up in the comments as well, where they're
Yes.
talking about the different paths and, metaphorical paths and that kind of thing. And that was a great conversation.
It was. It was. And Mama Burnham is a really good person to ask about those things because she's been on many paths. Yeah. Sometimes literally,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes figuratively. And I will say Tilly's hair looked better this episode. It was not bugging me as much as it was last episode. So maybe they're going to figure that out. Or maybe not. But I think it's better. And Dan's frozen again. Oh my gosh, Canada! Canada! I'm looking up at you. Get your stuff together. Get your internet together,
Oh
Canada.
boy.
Come on.
Okay.
Oh no, he's frozen again.
This is not good. This is not good.
Oh no.
And I don't know if anybody can hear me, but I'm going to disappear again and try and figure this out. So I'll be.
Okay, so while Dan's gone, let's all say some nice things about Dan. So go ahead in the chat, say something nice about Dan. Oh, Patrick, you saw Bare Naked Ladies with KT Tunstall opening? You lucky, lucky duck. Lucky duck. So, yeah, I've never seen them live. I don't think that they've ever been here, or if they have, I didn't know about it at the time. But yeah, yeah. So Tilly's hair. Does anybody else have problems with the way they're doing Tilly's hair this season? Because I expressed mine the last time, and I think it was better this time. Oh, thanks. Yes, Dan does have a nice voice. He does. He has a very soothing voice. He is you can tell that he's a very kind person just by the way he speaks to people, but also he will brook no racism or bias of any kind. So don't ever be a jerk around him or he'll smack you up.
Ooh, who are we talking about?
You! We were talking about you.
Doesn't sound like me.
Oh, well, you know, if someone's gonna be racist or, you know, sexist or bias of any kind up in your face, you're just gonna smack them up. That's what I was saying.
I'd agree with that.
Words.
Yeah,
With
with
words.
words.
Yes.
With my my wow, I'm at a loss for words.
With your acerbic wit.
Yeah, I was going to say barbed wit, but acerbic wit is better. Yes, I like that.
It's a fun word, acerbic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I love that that sequel there. That's cool.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? I apologize.
Well, we were talking about
I might not even be better yet.
Yeah. Poor dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Basically, I asked the chat to say something nice about Dan that they liked about you. So we got some things there.
Oh, I'm just looking at the comments. You guys are all so sweet.
Yeah, it's not hard to get him to do exactly what we want. I'm kidding, you guys. I know. You only do it because you want to. It's all good. And we still have a massive delay.
To the Burnham Court.
Okay, you were frozen again for a while. You know, this is like that one day.
Right,
oh no.
Yeah.
It's because you're frozen. You're frozen. I'm sorry. This makes Brandi a sad panda because it's so fun to talk with Dan about Star Trek and with you guys too. And so having these issues is very frustrating for him, and that makes me sad. Subspace relays are jammed. Truth. Truth. If only we had subspace relays, I'm sure they would be jammed. So 56K modem, I have no idea if that would work. He's left me again. It's okay. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, I didn't like Tilly's hair in the first 2 episodes either. And so I think that it's gotten better. Now we'll see if that holds, because I think that they filmed the episodes in order in the case of Discovery, simply because it has to be scored that way, I guess. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. It's a big production and it takes a lot of time. I do know that it takes about 9 months to do the visual effects for each episode of Discovery. So that is a lot. So us actually getting it uh like 3 years in a row, so 2019, 2020, 2021, to get a season each of those years, that's pretty impressive, actually, for them to be able to crank that out. So, well done. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Um, these are my natural curls. These are the curls that my hair does if I let it dry without using a blow dryer, and it'll do fun things like this. And sometimes one curl likes to clump up a lot. This one likes to clump up, and I try to separate it out, and it says, "No, no, thank you." But thank you for the compliment, because my hair and I have always had a complicated relationship, to say the least. And if I had to be on a television show, I would probably just tell them, just put me in wigs. Just put me in a good wig. It's fine, because this is not going to do what you want every single day. It is not going to be consistent in every shot. So just do wigs. That's what I would say. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you. I don't know how good it's going to be. I was watching you from the green room for a little while, just to see, it was still a little stuttery, so we'll see.
Well, right now you seem to be great.
Good. Excellent. I've changed nothing. So, but thank you for this comment. That is very good.
So great. So great. Okay, so yeah. I was talking about Tilly, and I was talking about her realizing that Michael had brought her on that trip because she was looking for new experiences. And boy, did she get some, but it didn't make her feel any better. And I think the conversation with Michael's mom proves that. So now she has to sort of think about Gabrielle's advice and what path will that take her on next. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. But yeah, it was really a blow to Michael when the president just turned Giovanni over to Navarre.
Yeah.
And I totally understand Michael's feelings on that. I totally do. And I understand why the president did what she did, because it's the good of the many. More people will be, their lives will be made better if Navarre rejoins the Federation.
Yeah.
And that is what is her big goal at the moment. Everything that she's done in this episode is getting points with Tarina so that they can pave the way to finalizing Navarre rejoining the Federation. That is what this whole thing was about. That's why the president suggested a joint mission. That's why she sent Michael. All of these things. It was absolutely her symphony that she had written, and they were just players in it.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I do like Gabrielle saying that she was glad that it was Michael, because she was afraid she wouldn't be able to bring Giovanni in, and she knew Michael would make her.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a favorite moment of mine as well. And the absolute candor of her having to admit that, I thought that was huge, because Michael, and I didn't catch it until the second time I watched it, but early on, Michael says to her, is like, do you think that I would give her a pass because, or something like that? Is that why you brought me? And then, like, no, exactly the opposite. So that, you wouldn't let me give her a pass.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
Another aspect that I thought kind of interesting about the whole turning her over to Navarre is Michael Burnham is technically a citizen of Navarre, as gets mentioned in last episode. So it's kind of her government too.
Mm-hmm.
That I just thought that was like an interesting little angle there. I was like, she's not quite on board with this idea, but interesting. I don't know. I don't know what more to read into that than that, but I thought that
Yeah,
was interesting.
it was interesting, and I did enjoy this storyline, but I do think that Givetti absolutely went about this wrong. I understand
Mm-hmm.
that she couldn't ask the Federation for the dilithium because it would compromise this race, which they are called Abronians. I remembered
Yes.
that. And so, and I understand that, but again, she didn't have to kill. She
Yeah,
didn't.
absolutely agree.
It wasn't kill or be killed. It was not. That guy had no hope of besting her. So it
Mm-hmm.
was not kill or be killed. It was not the same like when the nuns boarded Book's ship and started attacking them. That was kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Starfleet officer, it wasn't that. It
Yeah,
wasn't
for
that.
sure. I do want to point out, and it's from way back when, but DJ Kitty Cat had a great comment earlier where um, the commander, he didn't de-escalate either. I feel like there were mistakes that he made that
Mm-hmm.
resulted in this. Obviously, the killing was not appropriate, but at the same time, like I felt like the commander could have de-escalated a couple times, and he really didn't either. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand you can't just let this consignment be taken and stuff, but at the same time, did he know that it was tagged, that it so that if it got stolen they could track it or not? Because that's a question in my mind as well.
I'm guessing not, because
Mm-hmm.
if he knew it was tracked, he would have let them take it so that wait they could be found.
Right.
But regardless, either way, like something that we're always taught in retail jobs is if someone comes in and tries to rob you, you just let them have it because it's not worth your life.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, there were definitely mistakes on both sides, but Giovanni could have done something different as well as the commander.
Absolutely. Agreed on all counts there for sure. Um so let's move on to another aspect of the story, which let's go with Book and Stamets, because I really enjoy their consulting with Navarre, and of course what this ends up meaning for Book and what he gets out of it. That was
Mm.
incredible. And also, I just have to say, throughout this episode, great use of the AR wall that they
Mm-hmm.
purchased this season. You can really see that they're making good use of that and really putting that to work. Because and I can't remember who made the comment earlier about the Vulcan landscapes looking like
Mm.
landscape paintings by a particular artist, and I'm not an art history person, and I'm sorry, but and I can't remember the comment, but maybe if you could mention that again in the comments, that'd be great. Whoever that was, sorry. I thought that was absolutely beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful. And you know what else is beautiful? How protective Paul is of Book right
Yes,
now.
yeah, that was
It's
really
it's
sweet.
it's just the daddy that's come out in him because of the kids and also because of Hugh. And he's sworn he's going to figure this out for Book, and he was not lying. Maxfield Parrish, right?
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, when Stamets says he's going to do something, oh, he's going to do it. You can bet your buttons on that. And so everything he's doing and his frustration it's not just about, I mean, obviously it's about saving lives. That is the thing that they're trying to do. They're trying to save lives because this thing is destroying everything in its path.
Mm-hmm.
But he's extra protective of Book too, and he's not going to risk Book to save all these people either. He's not going to put him through more trauma if he can help it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he tries to talk him out of going to Navarre with him. And Book just makes it very clear, I need to be doing something. And that's why he was helping look for tachyons.
Mm-hmm.
So, because his DMA, a dark matter anomaly, he thinks it's a primordial wormhole, but tachyons aren't present that he can find. And that's the one thing that would make that hypothesis a true theory. But he couldn't find any. So, yeah, I love that Tarina just offers that service, right up front in the last episode. This is a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
But so I love them showing up on Navarre. I still want to call it Vulcan. It's very hard for me, and I will slip sometimes.
For sure,
And
me too.
anytime I get more Tarina, also I'm super happy because I
Mm-hmm.
love Tarina. I love Tarina so much, and I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for her and Saru to marry and live happily ever after. But anyway, I know.
Logically ever after.
Logically ever after. Yes, yes. So, she and there are some things that she says during this sequence that I am just, there are certain people in my past that I just want to go, see? But, because I've had people tell me before, Vulcans don't suppress their emotions. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now with this?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, they do. It's canon. What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like
Live
that.
agree.
Agreeably.
Thank you, DJ Kitty Cat. Bringing the hits tonight. The chat
Perfect.
is. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So it's this passion of Stamets while he's talking to the council, and they're all just waiting for him to shut up so they can meditate. And he's so passionate because he has a personal stake in this now. It's not just about saving the galaxy or the universe or whatever. It's about, he's forged this bond with Book now, and he is going to live by his word. He's going to figure this out. And he is just he feels like he's so close. He's so close. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I love the part when they just interrupt him and they all start meditating.
No, can we set a schedule for the day? Research now, naps later? Or
Well,
something like that.
and I think had Paul actually been thinking about it, he would have been like, oh, yes, they do a lot of meditation. I should have thought of that. It puts them in a relaxed state, and so that they can focus and then come up with their answers. And I love how he's just like, oh, well, I'll go sit over here then. Just goes and sits down.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, and you can tell he just wants to be so antsy, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just being so patient. It's like so patient. And then all of a sudden they wake up and they start using their things again. He's like, wait, what?
Hi?
Hello? Did you find anything? What's going on?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, a number of things with that whole section. First of all, Tarina saying that the Vulcans, it's a misconception that they don't have emotions. They, all this stuff. That's almost word for word something similar to something that I think Tuvok said in Voyager as well. Very, very almost word for word.
yes.
So yeah, that's something that's been true of Vulcans from the very beginning. That's definitely not something new for sure. The other thing that I loved with all of the Vulcans meditating to just do the calculations in their head and all that stuff, really reminded me of Spock. Like that was just such a Spock moment. not that he was meditating doing calculations, but there's one of my favorite scenes in the TOS episode Tomorrow is Yesterday, where they're in the
Oh,
transporter
yes.
room waiting for Kirk to signal, and Spock is like, given the, blah blah blah, Jim should be this, blah blah. McCoy's getting away. Spock, shouldn't you be working on your time warp calculations? And he's like, I am. He's just
Oh.
like sitting there thinking about it. Yep, I'm doing
Mhm.
my calculations. What do you want from me? I love it.
Oh, good grief. I love Spock. Spock's the best. How many times has he had to do time travel calculations? I mean, it's at least
Right.
twice, possibly more. It just seems like every other second, hey, Spock, we got to time travel. Would you work that out for us? And you got to wonder if at some point that he's internally just going, again. But, would
Absolutely.
never express that externally. So,
Definitely.
but yeah.
Um,
And I love, I'm sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say of course, the revelation of books that,
Hmm.
in that moment he was turning to his brother, but as he did that, his nephew turned and looked and saw that he loved him, and the peace that gives him. He's not all better now, but
Mm-mm.
he's taken a huge step on the road to, getting through this and coming out the other side, because he was stuck before. He was stuck in that moment, and just the pure joy on his face when he sees that and makes that realization. Like, I was getting a little bit of the corner of my eye, but like happy ones. It was so good.
Yeah. I do love how he was basically asking Tarina to help him suppress his emotions, and she said, "You need a different set of tools. Your
Hmm.
Quajon, your emotions are just intricately tied into what you do. You can't purge that. You can't suppress that. Then you won't be you anymore."
No.
And he's that's when he says, even a drowning man, give a drowning man even one gasp of breath, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Um, and I do love how Paul is protected Paul now, PP. He's like, no, don't do this. You don't. This is gonna hurt you. This is gonna be so hard. And I know where he's coming from. I know where he's coming from. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's really it's I'm glad that Book had that moment, and oh my god, David Ajala, okay?
Hmm.
Amazing, amazing. Um, they are giving him such a range to deal with this season, and he is just knocking it out of the park every freaking time. There is
Oh yeah.
nothing that he can't handle. This guy is so good at what he does. So,
Yeah.
so good. And I'm so, so glad that he's on Discovery, because I loved him before this and I love him even more now. And I just really appreciate that they're giving him these things to do and express to just, because he can just do
Hmm.
this. Whew.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, like from him doing like the 1,000 yard stare and just
mhm.
like pure total dejection, and like on the other side of the spectrum just elation and happiness, and I'm just like, yeah, this man can act. Absolutely. Aaron Harvey also, yes, I knew I had heard
Yes,
something similar very recently, and I'd very recently watched Yesteryear, and I was like, I know Tuvok said it, and someone else said it very similarly as well. And that, yeah, it was
it was
Spock
Spock.
saying that. Yeah, makes
Spock saying
sense.
that to Spock.
Absolutely. And he's not just saying that about himself, as he says, Vulcans do not lack emotion.
Hmm.
It is only that ours is controlled. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and, oh man, after that mind meld and the look on Tarina's face and how she says, "My condolences
Oh,
are inadequate."
yeah,
I mean, she is communicating emotion even though she may not be fully expressing it in the same way that Book is. She is absolutely gutted by what
yeah.
she saw. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tarina, she has this really great balance as a Vulcan that I love, where she's very diplomatic but also very Vulcan. I don't know.
Mhm.
I love the way, the sympathy she has for Book and how she talks to him about, how he's a Quajon and they don't, you need your emotions and that kind of thing. And she still has this huge amounts of sympathy behind her face, even though it's nominally emotionless,
Mhm.
but yeah, there's a lot there. I really enjoyed that for sure.
There is. And, I appreciate that they're really going into this journey of grief with Book. I mean, we've been through journeys of grief with other characters as well. Uh, but it's interesting to have it happen to this particular character, whom we've only had for a year. So it's very
Mhm.
meaty. It's something for him to get his hooks into.
Yeah.
But I just the thing is that I know that this isn't going to be the end of it. You don't just have one mind meld and see, oh yes, my nephew did know that I loved him and I'm fine again. That is not how it works. We know that's
Yeah.
not how it works, and that's not how it's going to work in this series. There are going to be other things that are going to trigger, and I feel like he's going to start getting the anger thing going because first he was frozen, couldn't express any emotions, and I
Mhm.
think then all the emotions are going to start coming out now
Yeah.
that that dam has been broken. And this is a good thing because, again, everybody has to sit with their grief in whatever way they do. So, and that's a different process for every single person. And we can't even identify with Book's level of grief because
Yeah.
it was his whole planet, and they still don't know if there was anyone off world. He may very well be the last surviving person from Kwaijan.
Mhm.
So anyway, and
Yeah.
I do love afterwards that moment that Book and Michael have, and then she tells him that he's peaceful, and he says for the moment, and she says sometimes a moment is all we get,
Yeah. I
and
was
that
gonna
is the
bring that
absolute truth.
I was gonna bring that line up. That was an
Hmm.
important one as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this whole episode, I mean, as much as there are things happening in it and there's plot and all that sort of stuff, it does feel like a bit of a breath before I think we get more with the anomaly and stuff. Like, it does feel like this is a moment. This is maybe the moment that we're going to get where we
Yeah.
get to kind of be quiet and calm for a little while. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen a preview for next week's episode or anything. I don't know what's happening, but it feels like, yeah, there's just kind of a deep breath here. And then we're probably going to get into some crazy stuff later. But we're not there yet because we do still have one storyline to talk about. And I do desperately want to talk about this storyline. And that is,
Oh
of
my god,
course,
yes.
Gray and Adira, but mostly Gray, of course, because this is where Gray is going to move into his new body.
Like it's a new apartment. Hey, I'm moving into the new body today. Will someone help me
Yeah,
carry my litter? I don't know.
exactly.
I'm sorry, that
Um,
was terrible.
instead of the moving guys in a truck, though, it's through the Jantara Trill ceremony, which that was a nice reference back to Deep Space. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Before we move on, sorry, there was a reference, and I can't remember the term. It's a fairly long term that starts with E that President Tarina mentioned, and that's from Diane Duane and the novels, and I think maybe specifically Spock's World, where she was talking about like the Vulcan philosophy of suppressing emotions and that sort of thing. And that was right from Diane Duane, like very fringe book stuff, which I was blown away by that. That was really cool. And I think Diane Duane tweeted about it and was like blown away by that herself as well.
Yes, I'm trying to find that out
Hmm.
because I've got let's see here. I believe you require a different set of tools than I can offer, Mr. Booker. Yes, we know. I may have skipped it. Anyway, I'm trying to find the word. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's actually Ari Manu. I'm
Yes,
probably not
that's it.
saying that right, but it's
Pretty close, actually.
ARIE. Yeah, ARIE apostrophe MNU. That's it.
Yeah, and your pronunciation is pretty close, if I remember correctly. I just wanted to highlight this comment because I think that's very nice.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
true,
you.
also.
I appreciate that. Well, they say a woman's hair is her crowning glory. But no, I do try to keep it looking good, you know. I basically I just let it do what it wants and I try to make it look, like I'm not a crazy person. So thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that reference, great reference to the Jantara, the Trill ceremony from Deep Space Nine. That was excellent as well. And yeah, we get a lot of uncertainty in this episode, even though I think we know how things are going to turn out at the end. We still get, through Adira, we get their kind of uncertainty about what's going to happen in the outcome, and is Gray going to come back? And there's some great moments in that as well, and we get to see Discovery's bar, which
I want to live there. I want to live there. It's
Absolutely.
just like the best. 10 forward, who cares? I love Discovery's bar. It is magnificent. And those comfy chairs and the fireplaces and the glass shelving and the wood. Oh, it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
I
love
feel
it.
like I want to curl up on one of the benches near the fireplace and just nap like that.
Mm-hmm.
That looks wonderful.
Yes. And then someone will come by and put an Afghan over you as well, just to tuck you in on that bench. Oh, I love it.
Curled up by a fire and somebody walks by and puts an Afghan on you. Is that just like the short description of Discovery? That's what that show feels like to me at this point. I like that.
There you go. You're all welcome. You're welcome.
I love it. Yeah, so lots of emotions, of course, in this episode with Adira and Gray, and we do get Gray coming back and inhabiting his new body there, and the reunion at the end, which was incredible. I love these two actors too. They're just so good together, and I don't know how much more to say about that part of the story other than just how heartfelt and how warm it made me feel by the end, and how awesome I think Culber is, and there's just so many things. So great.
Yeah, it is. I love that he was like, okay, you can't just sit here and go out of your mind. Come, get on out of here for a while, which is, sometimes a really good thing to do is just walk away from the situation for a minute. And then you see them violently playing darts in the bar, just so violently throwing those darts. Loved it. And, and Hugh knows not to hover. And so he just goes off on his own and he has a chat with Saru being Papa Bear again, and talking to Culber and explaining the whole saying about you cannot ride two veil beasts with only one set of buttocks. And he says, try three. And he says, try three, because, he's dealing with three. And three different things that he's doing. He's a dad now, and he's the chief medical officer, and he's the counselor. So that's a lot to do. And he seems a little tired to me. He seems like he's a little bit tired because he's doing a lot, but he's doing also what he loves and what he knows he was meant to do. So that does help. And then Adira just decides, I'm going back in there, and they take Gray's hand. And, I really appreciate that we got to see his body being 3D printed. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like, why are you doing the face last? That's so disconcerting. Oh,
Yeah.
just wrong. So, yeah. And then they take his hand and they talk to him, find your way back. I'm right here. I'm going to guide you. I'm here for you. I'm not letting go until you're here again.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Gray wakes up, I'm going to get emotional. And he tells Adira, I heard you and I felt you and I found my way because of you. But not only that part, but obviously Culber got the alert that brain activity had started. And so Culber comes in and he says, oh, okay, you're up. Well, take it slow. And Gray just runs at him and just jumps on him. And it's just the most joyful, beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
that was when the sobbing began for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is why I have a tissue this time. I came prepared. Unfortunately, I have forgotten my rule that I always have a tissue when I start watching Discovery, and I didn't this time. And Dave just looked at me and said, why don't you have a tissue? And just pulls one out and hands it to me. I said, I don't know. I was caught in the moment or something, but this family is finally whole because they finally have all of Gray, and I couldn't be happier for them. I loved seeing Guardian Z again because if it
Yeah, that
weren't for
was cool.
Guardian Z, Adir would have never been able to get to the baptismal font. I know I keep calling it that, but come on, guys, that really looked like a baptism dress.
Mm-hmm.
So I I just really loved that. It was super emotional and super beautiful, and Blue and Ian together, they obviously have gotten to know each other very well, and their chemistry is just, you just feel it. You just
Mm-hmm.
feel, you can believe these two kids they love each other. They're connected to each other forever, and just, it's a beautiful thing to see on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to highlight a great comment by Sam. Thank you so much. Adira is a very welcome character for me as a non-binary person. I have been disgusted to see the hate comments on social media aimed at Blue, Ian, and even Wilson and Anthony still. Absolutely 100% agree. And the one good thing about the people that stick their necks out and espouse those opinions is they're saying so much more about themselves, obviously, than they are about anybody else. And I personally like to know who the trash people are. So,
Agreed, so that I can block and mute them. So
absolutely.
that's why I've so carefully cultivated my Twitter timeline, that I don't have any trolls.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while, someone will slip into one of my friends' mentions and whatnot, and it's just like, really. And here's the thing that I don't understand. Okay, first of all, equality's not a pie. It doesn't have a limited amount to go around. But besides that, how does the existence of gay people, of non-binary people, of trans people, of whatever you are, how does that in any way take away from their lives? How does that in any way harm them? Oh, it doesn't. It
No.
doesn't. And it's because they have been brought up to believe that, oh, this thing is different and therefore I must hate it because they're going to come for me in the night. That is the kind of hysteria. I shouldn't call it hysteria. That's a sexist term. And this is the kind of insanity that these people are raised to believe. No one's born this way. I've said that a million times. People are raised to believe this, and they choose to believe it. And some of them are so indoctrinated into that they simply cannot see it any other way. And those people are going to go the way of the dinosaur someday. I truly
Absolutely.
believe that.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of work to do. And we have to remind people, guess what? You're not the center of the universe. And these people
Mhm.
aren't hurting you in any way by existing.
Yep,
So go
absolutely,
away.
exactly.
Just
Yep,
go away.
and that's all the attention that, you know, needs to be afforded to those people, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yeah. So, any final thoughts? Anything we haven't talked about with regards to this episode, and ratings for Choose to Live, which, by the way, I just have to say is an absolutely brilliant title because it applies to all three stories in this
Mhm.
episode, and it's beautiful. I love that.
Perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I do love, here's another thing that I didn't mention. I do love the Tilly and Burnham moments that we
Hmm.
had, like after Giovanni tells them to go away, basically, and not go down there. And Tilly says, we're going to totally ignore that warning, aren't we? And Michael just goes, mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then at the end, when they're seeing all the ships go down, and Tilly says, you did this. And Michael says, no, we did this. And they put their arms around each other because they're best friends, you guys. And we haven't seen that kind of camaraderie because there's been a lot of stuff going on. And so I love that they got to have that quiet moment like
Hmm.
that. It just warmed the cockles of my heart. Also, Tilly trying to touch the
Oh
swamp kelp
God.
plant just to freak out Saru.
And Saru, like, genuinely,
She's like, I'm not that dumb. Come on.
she
Just, I
came
loved
pretty
that.
close though. Like,
Hmm.
don't
She
tempt fate,
did.
Billy.
She
Uh,
did. But, and she went to talk to him. She said, I know you were the one who recommended that I go on this mission.
mhm,
And because again, he's just Papa Bear. You know, he's everybody's dad right now. He may
mhm.
not be the captain, but he's still the dad of the ship.
Yeah, he's the one
And
with the
I love
sage
it.
advice, you know. He's
Hmm.
the one that the person who gives sage advice goes to for sage advice, as we see
Hmm.
Culber talks to him at one point. So, yeah.
Exactly. He's there for everybody. And he's still balancing this with talking to the council back on Kaminar, and just I, the changes that Saru has been through since season 1. It's like it's amazing. It's amazing. They're like totally different people. The Saru we started out with, and then the Saru we have now. You never would have thought. Never would have
Mhm.
thought. I love that. I just love it because I love Doug Jones, and I just want him to always be around.
Absolutely. Totally 100% agree. Um, yeah. Ah, I really, really liked this episode.
Mm,
Um, I have a hard time with best or whatever. This is one of the best episodes, I think, of Discovery. I really enjoyed it. I think it was just very well put together from beginning to end. I like the opening, like we're in a situation we don't usually see. We're not on Discovery, we're not with our usual characters. It's always just anytime an episode um launches into an episode with an unfamiliar situation or something strange or different that makes you kind of sit up and take notice. I like that. So it got off on the right foot right away. And then, like, it's very well paced. All, you know, the right amount of time is given to all three stories. And there's that thematic link through all of them. Like, I just think this is a really well put together story. So I just, I got to think of. I can't just give everything 5 out of 5
oh,
or 4.5 out of 5. So I'm gonna
I didn't.
give this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one big, huge cluster of spaceships flying to their new home after a long journey. So that's my rating.
Yes. I forgot to give my rating.
Oh yeah,
My
sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I just realized it as you were saying rating, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't do that. My rating is 2 veil beasts out of 1 set of buttocks.
It's funny. David's rating came up here. Very similar.
Great minds think alike. Yeah, normally I'm not going to do the this out of this anymore. I'm just going to say random things because it's difficult to I don't like rating things, frankly, in traditional ways, because making me rank favorites of any kind is really, really difficult for me. So when I say it, that I like that something's my favorite, that you should set up and take notice. Because most of the time, I just love everything so much that it's just I can't elevate one thing above all others. So.
Yeah, I've really had to train myself to use the phrase "one of my favorite" because people will call me on, wasn't that your favorite one? Yeah, one of my favorite. With regards to DJ Kitty Cat's rating here, I can just see a Vulcan scientist raising a single brow and saying, "I do not believe that I deserve the appellation snooty," and which is, of course, the snootiest thing that one could say. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't read it before I clicked it. I was like, oh,
that's hilarious. No, that's
funny.
hilarious. Well, no, not only was there no O.O. Detmer, there was nobody from the bridge crew except for Tilly. It was just that we didn't even see the bridge, did we?
No,
I don't think we ever even went to the bridge on this episode.
I don't think so. We did see Linus playing the piano, though, apparently in the bar, which is kind of cool.
Okay, now I just want to be draped on that piano while Linus is playing it.
I love it.
Just want to, in a red dress, of course, with the slit up the side, and my hair in this 40s style and lots of red lipstick. Yeah, I can see it all now.
Are you going to pull a Kira hologram and sing Fever?
Oh, don't tempt me, because I do know all the verses.
Nice. Well, when you're not serenading Linus with your rendition of Fever, where can people find you online?
Places. You can find me on Twitter. It's Brandywine12. Figure it out. I'm not going to say the stuff I normally say. I do a Discovery podcast. You do. That is called What the Future Holds, Star Trek Discovery podcast. I do that with my husband, Dave, and our good friend, Chris Littlefield. And in fact, I should be editing that episode that we just did about Choose to Live. And I do a podcast about Deep Space Nine called The Vedic Assembly with my good friend, Dr. Nick Collinson. I love calling him Dr. Nick because, hello, Dr. Nick. Everybody does that to him. He loves it. And so we obviously talk about Deep Space Nine. We have a great time with that. And I do the Dark Corner podcast with my husband, Dave, which is just about all the things that we love from a slightly darker point of view, and we like a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think we would like. So yeah, we're having a good time with that. And it's Christmas time, so everybody's busy, and I someday we'll do Boldly Go Again, a Star Trek Strange New Worlds podcast.
Yeah.
So someday.
Excellent. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Kertrats. That's Kertrats. You can find me on the Positively Trek podcast that I do with Bruce Gibson, weekly show, and then a book club episode every 2 weeks as well on top of that. So that's always been a lot of fun. The book club episode we just put out on Friday was the 2 short stories that are in the Star Trek Explorer magazine. So if you haven't checked out that magazine, go pick it up. I haven't subscribed to a magazine in a long time. And this is the first one I've done in quite a while. And it's good. It's worth it. It's a good publication. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm subscribed. They're not paying me to say this. I don't get sent it or anything like that for free.
Same.
I just think it's very good and very much worth checking out.
Then
besides that, we're reviewing episodes of Discovery and talking about the week's Star Trek news. So, yeah, check that out wherever you get your podcasts, as they say, or positivelytrek.com. So, yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is always so much fun, internet problems notwithstanding. And we will see you all next week for the episode All Is Possible. And so until then, live long and prosper. And what should I say? I should say choose a different path. Choose to live.